Don't be sorry. I don't want to hear
Okay.
sorry. All right. If you need to leave the room for a second to prep yourself, totally fine. Go ahead.
No, I think I'm okay.
You're good?
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to
Just-
be nervous coming in.
Yeah, I just lost. Like I know it, but then I just lost it.
Totally
I
fine.
just-
Happens to everyone.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here to present about medical interpreting services. Have you ever felt anxious before going to an appointment with a doctor or a healthcare provider? Imagine that when your healthcare provider doesn't speak the language that you speak, so it's very challenging. I'm gonna talk about medical interpreter services again. I'm gonna divide it into 4 different categories, basically. The why, the who, the what, and the how. So why? There are about 57 million people in the US who speak other languages other than English at home, and about half of them, they don't speak a proficient English, or they don't speak English very well. So that's a big need in our services. And then there are about, we provide about 12 different languages, 12 to 14 different languages in our department. Mostly for Spanish is the big bulk of our interpretations. We have done about 111,000 interpretations for the year, including Spanish, Portuguese, Arabic, Mandarin, Cantonese, Khmer, Russian, French Creole or Haitian Creole, and French. As I said, the bulk of our work is usually Spanish, and the way that we provide the how, it would be the how we provide those services. We have about 34 in-staff, in-house interpreters for all those different languages that I mentioned before. And for the rest of the languages, we provide the services throughout an outside provider, which is located in California, but they have interpreters all over the States and sometimes abroad. It's over 200 and plus different languages that we provide. Why is a big need of providing these services? Because of safety and law issues about how these patients, limited English proficient patients, acquire those services. In terms of requirements from the law, the Civil Rights Act in 1964 has a piece of it that has to do with language services. And also, most recently with the Affordable Care Act, or more known as Obamacare, it has a piece of it as well, defining that who is a limited English proficient patient and who needs services, and that the healthcare institutions by law need to provide those services. And who provide these services? Well, the interpreters. The interpreters are medical trained as interpreters. They have to go take some training in different institutions here in Massachusetts, if you live in Massachusetts. There are different options. These interpreters are not only trained for medical terminology, but in biology and other areas of medicine, and they have to abide by laws and code of ethics and procedures standards that are regulated by the industry itself. The work that we do is critical for our population, being in this case Massachusetts or the greater Boston area, presenting huge diversity in our communities. That's basically a big brush of what we do and how we do it and why we do it. I hope you enjoy or kind of get to know a little bit of that information. And I didn't hand out the handouts that Emily helped me make copies of, but I thought it was easier just to present that, and then now I'm gonna give it to you, so you can take a look at it at home if you want, or if you wanna just throw them away, you can do that as well. And that's it.
Sorry, you can move that.
Anne, right?
Yes. Good presentation, good movement around the room, good use of your hands, good eye contact. My only critique is used a lot.
I thought it was a great presentation. I thought you had a great opening by kind of putting us in somebody else's shoes who may or may not speak the same language as their provider, which I think set the tone, which was really good. I thought you had good voice. You know, your tone was great. You did use a little bit more, like I just did. But you didn't, what was the thing that you had? Oh, your visuals. You used that a lot last week, and you didn't have any this week, and I thought that was actually good for you. You didn't rely on that. You were able to just speak freely, and you're very knowledgeable about it, so that worked in your favor, I thought.
You know your material, so that's, you can just give it, and then it's coming out smoothly. And you look around the room and try to engage people also. The only thing I would say is that sometimes you do, which has been taught to me before in the past, is that you do like and so sometimes it's kind of like, what was that? But you kind of do that a little.
Mouth is very dry right
Yeah. So just kind of be careful with that.
I like how you said there's like 4 categories, the why, when, what, why, you know,
I don't even
right? So
know if I
that was
follow
really
that.
good. And I think it was also, so you're very knowledgeable in the topic. It helped me too when you listed the languages. It gave me a better awareness of how complex and how important this is. The ums were mentioned, so I have that too. And it's not because you don't know, like you have the next sentence, but you say the and you just follow it with the next sentence. It doesn't feel like you're pausing to think about it. I have one more thing. At the beginning, you asked the question, which was great, because it's like, who hasn't, I felt like, oh my God, that's me. I feel the anxiety walking into the appointment. But you didn't sort of like wait for us to answer. You just continued on by saying, imagine if your provider also doesn't speak your language, which been there, done that. So I think that was powerful.
Yeah, I agree with Maria, and Brenda mentioned, so you came right in with the hook, you know, how many of you are nervous going to the doctor? So right there, we all related. And then you gave the outline, how, what, and so forth, so that was good. And I thought you had great hand positioning because of the whole neutral thing, how you're supposed to stay in the middle, and your hands went back and forth, open and closed, but they were more or less in that middle range. And again, you have a great voice. And the topic you picked, obviously, since you have an accent, I mean, credibility right there, because we know you speak a foreign language. So.
I agree with Carrie and Maria and Julia. Great opening. I liked the question, and then I like how you outlined what you were going to tell us. I would say the ums as well. There's a few ums in there. But
I
other
get
than that, it was
lost.
great.
It seems like I know what I'm gonna say, but I don't know. That's why I'm like, what is next?
You seem like you know though, like
Yeah.
the was so quick that it's like not even needed, because you go and then to the next point. Okay, but I have all the same good stuff that everybody else said. The moving up and down, very well organized. I liked the listing of the languages, like taking a moment and like listing everything, even though it was like a good 15 seconds of it. It was powerful, like that we could get a good visual. And I had the ums, of course, too. And I loved that you made the little joke at the end, like you put a little personality in it, you smiled, so maybe doing more of that throughout your presentation. You have a great smile, too, and kind of adding that more in the presentation, because at the end it made me really like you right away, and you could do it at the beginning as well.
Yeah, I thought it was a great presentation. I also really liked the opening as well. I liked how you walked around the room a little bit because it made it a little bit more engaging. You also had a good pace to everything, so it was easy to follow.
I think you were very knowledgeable, great eye contact.
I liked how you moved around the room, and great information.
I like the topic because I'm Dutch, and in the beginning when I got here, it was hard to get the medical help that I needed. So of course I'm a little biased, but so I from the start, like everybody said, I liked the opening. What I specifically liked from the opening was the usage of the word imagine, because everybody's brain, if you say imagine, everybody's brain is going to work. And I think it's a very positive word. So definitely the word imagine is just, a good word choice. I'm looking at the board for you. So no aids, which seems to work for you. Definitely what Carrie said. And less gestures. I didn't see a lot of gestures. Was it a big difference from last week?
I
Gestures?
think it was just because of the board, right?
Maybe I thought it was all over the place.
All right. Well, you weren't all over the place today.
And it wasn't last week either.
No?
No, last week it was because you kept pointing to the board.
Yeah.
It was the board, it wasn't.
Ah, okay. So all well. Don't use a lot of visuals, and you're good. Let's see. Of course, that's just a word that you have to print in your brain, saying just don't use it. Just don't use it. Just be aware of the word. After minute 2.5, your intonation came in a little bit. Your tone got a little bit warmer. Your pace got a little bit slower, and I really, really liked that. The same timing as that Carrie had. So try to get to know your audience a little bit before that. Just try to get comfortable in the room where you're in. So maybe you just need 2 to 2.5 minutes to get comfortable in your presentation. I did like the ending. I agree that maybe we could do the ending in the beginning because, again, like the same as Durance, you have a very engaging smile. But I did like, that you kind of, because you wanted to give the handouts out before, right? Did you forget it or no?
No, I decided not to.
You decided not to. So it was a great ending. Don't tell us to throw them away. You should be proud of your work.
Yeah.
You should be super proud of your handouts. But it was a good ending. So yeah, no, it was a good ending. Thank you. I don't know if you saw him. No? All right. Good job. Alicia, you can go, right?